First of all, let me thank you for being here. These community meetings, we've gotten just a ton of resource material and thoughts and ideas from our community, and I want to encourage you, please, to chime in with that tonight. If you have questions during the presentation, feel free to raise your hand or walk up to the mic. I know not everybody's comfortable in front of a mic, and that's okay, but the reason we ask that you do that is because then we get you recorded. Your question will be recorded because we are videoing each and every single one of these meetings and making them available on our website, so that if you didn't make one of the others and were wondering if this question was ever raised, you can always go back and ask that as well. I want to introduce someone tonight. This is Saul Hinojosa. Dr. Hinojosa has been active in education for 31 years, 15 of those serving as a superintendent at a single district, that was Somerset. He is very good at what he does, and he is our consultant as we search for our superintendent. In a few minutes, I'm going to invite him up, and he is going to share with you what the process is like, what we've done so far, and what our timeline is moving forward, and also be here to answer any of your questions. A lot of times, it's very easy to receive partial information or misinformation on something, especially something as important and as big as this. And I kid you not, I consider this to be the most important thing that we'll do as a board this year, is to hire the new CEO of the school district. So if you have a question, or if you think you understand something, a lot of people are wondering why we don't parade candidates in front of the community and that sort of thing. Well, there are reasons, personnel, state law reasons and stuff, and Saul can speak to that too if you're curious about that. But this is an opportunity for you to give us the feedback that we so desperately need about what is important to our community when it comes to selecting a new superintendent. So please don't hold back. The other thing I'd ask you, and I know I'm asking a whole lot of you tonight, and I apologize for that, but the other thing I ask of you is whatever you learned tonight or is shared with you tonight, I ask that you be a conduit in our community for that information to others. And the reason I ask that is because we have got an incredible communications department at VISD, the number of emails, social media posts, text. I mean, it goes on and on, placing things in the paper, putting things on crossroads. It goes on and on and on, and they do a phenomenal job. But if there's one thing I've learned, the more ways that you have to communicate, the less people anyone hits. But the one thing that will always make an impact in our community is someone talking to you about it, someone you know sharing something with you. So I've said this time and time again, I'm an older guy. I remember an old commercial. I used to say it was Vidal Sassoon. It is not. I've been corrected twice now. It's Fabergé Organics, but it was a shampoo commercial. And basically, somebody really loved their hair, and the tagline was, you tell two friends, and then they'll tell two friends, and then they'll tell two friends. And before long, the streams just filled up with just dozens and dozens of people that all started out with one person telling two people, and those two people telling two people. So thank you so much again for being here tonight. Thank you for caring about our community and caring about our schools. Thank you for being willing to be a conduit in our community for the information. This will be our final public meeting, but in no way, shape, or form is this your last opportunity to make suggestions or comments regarding the search. Saul will share with you a QR code in a few minutes for our online survey. A couple of different questions about what do you think is important, what are the characteristics, and then at the bottom there's an area for you to put in whatever you want to in your comments. And I have encouraged people, please don't hold back. This is your chance, this is your opportunity to say what you think is important, what you think will make VISD as great as it possibly can be. So please, even after you make your comments tonight or questions or whatever, don't hesitate to go and do that, and encourage other people to do that as well. I think, as Saul has mentioned to me today, we've gotten over 1,000 responses. I know that doesn't sound like a lot in a community this size, but Saul has worked with much larger communities than us and gotten 400 or less back. So it is working, we are getting feedback, but I want to encourage us to continue doing that. So, you're not here to listen to me, you're here to listen to Saul. So Saul, I turn it over to you, my friend.
I'm going to lower the mic because I'm not as tall as him. First of all, thank you. I'm Saul Hinojosa, I'm a research consultant with VISD. And I think this is my 6th trip that I've made to Victoria, because I reside in Hilo, this little suburb outside of San Antonio. And one thing that I've come to realize, man, we have some great people here, really welcoming. I want to thank everybody. Everywhere that I've been in, not only the school community meetings, but I've got an opportunity to visit several civic organizations, from the Kiwanis Club, Rotary Club, the Chamber, the Economic Development Corporation, and boy, everybody is on board in this process. And kudos to our board here for allowing the community to get involved in this process. Many times, school boards who are entrusted with this responsibility of hiring a superintendent, which is actually one of the biggest things they'll ever do, they take it upon themselves to pretty much make that decision on their own and don't involve community, don't involve the stakeholders to get their input of what kind of superintendent are we looking for, what kind of attributes would best fit this community. So today, this is going to be your opportunity to tell us, what do you think is a good fit for VISD? Again, we've had over 1,000 responses, which is the biggest survey response that I've ever seen in all the searches that I've done. So again, that tells you that this community is invested in VISD and wants to make sure that we get it right as far as hiring the next superintendent. So I want to start out a little bit about the timeline so you guys know what to expect. Right now, the application process is open. It started right around the 5th of August, and it's going to be open until September the 5th. So on September the 5th, every application is going to be presented to our Board of Trustees. At that point, they're going to disaggregate, go through every application, and they're going to decide who they want to interview, okay? And that date is actually missing. It's on the 12th of September, okay? So on 12th of September, they're going to look at all the applications, and at that point, they're going to choose anywhere from 6 to 8 candidates who they feel are a good fit based on the information that they have received from the community. So the first set of interviews will take place on the 2nd and 3rd of October. Then at that point, after we listen to all 6 to 8 candidates, the board is going to conference amongst each other, and they're going to whittle it down to at least 2 or 3. On October the 16th or 14th and 15th, then they're going to again conference among themselves. And on the 17th of October, they're going to name a lone finalist. Okay? Once a lone finalist is named, they have to wait 21 days before they can offer a contract or the individual can sign a contract. So that's around November 15th, 16th, or 17th, somewhere around that time. Once that contract is signed, then that candidate will be the next superintendent for VISD. Now the thing is that they might not start on that day. What we're looking for is for that individual to come in on January the 1st, because they might have to close shop in the district that they're currently employed in, and they want to make sure that they don't leave their students at a disadvantage. So they would come in the 1st of January. Right now, the district's in great hands under Mr. Meyer. He's been doing a phenomenal job in holding the fort down while this process takes place. So that is the timeline that we currently have as far as the selection of superintendent. And it's really an ideal time, and let me tell you why. Because that person comes in January, they're able to meet with employees, evaluate employees, walk around, get to know the community. They have 5 months to really get some really good, rich data on what's going on and what needs to be adjusted, if any. So in the summer, then you hit the ground running, make all those changes, so by the start of the new school year, you're ready to get started. What happens is when you sometimes you hire individuals in the summer, and it's almost a lost year, right? Because you're going in and now you're starting to get to know your staff, evaluate, and it's hard to make changes at this time. So in my opinion, in my experience, it's the most ideal time to bring somebody in January to really evaluate what's going on here in the district. Next up, this is the posting that applicants look at when they're deciding whether they apply or not. And right now, tell you what, we're getting a tremendous amount of interest. I think we're right around 40 individuals who actually have requested applications. So again, that's really above the norm for a school district this size. So we're getting a lot of requests. But the board decided there was four qualifications that were non-negotiables. The first one is you have to reside in the district. Okay? Now, that being said, okay, what does that mean? Okay? What we're looking at is somebody who's invested in the community. You know, we're going to be asking those tough questions of individuals. Are you going to bring your spouse to live here, or are you coming by yourself? If they are married, right? Are you going to bring your kids here if they do have kids? And are you going to enroll them in VISD? We want to make sure that that individual, right, is all in. Okay? We don't want them to have one foot in the door, right, or just their toe in the water. Right? We want them to be sure that they're fully invested in the community. So that's number one. The second thing is they have to at least be a teacher. Okay? You have to walk in those footsteps. Teachers, of course, are the ones in the front lines. They're the ones that are face-to-face, working with their kiddos. So we want to make sure that the prospective superintendent has at minimum been a teacher at some time or other, as opposed to maybe coming from a different career field and wanting to seek the position of superintendent. Second of all, they've had to have administrative experience. Minimum principal level or up, okay? How can you be the leader of a district if you have even met the basic qualification of leading a campus, right? It's very difficult for a school district this size. Let's say you're an assistant principal, okay, and you want to be that superintendent. That's a big jump, right? You might see it in a very small school district, but in a school district this size, that encompasses 2,600 employees, I believe. It's a big responsibility, so we want to make sure that that individual has that type of leadership experience. And then the last one is that they have a Texas Superintendent Certificate, okay? And again, if I live out in Idaho or Florida, does that preclude me from applying? And the answer is no. Maybe that individual started out in Texas, was a teacher, earned their superintendent certification, decided to take an opportunity elsewhere, and is now working in another state, but they have their Texas superintendent certificate. So that means that prospective candidate would be able to apply here in Victoria. Okay? So those are the four non-negotiables. Everything else is preferred. And the reason is that we wanted to cast a wide net. We know that there's 1,200 school districts here in the state of Texas. And there are some high-performing superintendents that don't have a doctorate degree. So we didn't want to exclude those type of individuals from applying here and to be considered for the job. Because again, it's not about the doctorate degree, it's about results. Making sure that superintendent has that proven or associate superintendent or principal, right, has a proven track record. We want to make sure that that individual, has experienced success if they're going to be coming here to Victoria ISD. Maybe some experience with finance or bonds is also preferred. Again, the Texas finance system is, you really have to understand it. You're fortunate to have a guy like Mr. Meyer that understands all the ins and outs. I believe it's been amended over 100 times when you look at the template of how schools are financed. I always say it's worse than the regression formula for those of you who have taken statistics. It's evolving and it's ever changing, and that's why attendance and enrollment and all those things are important to the school district because that's one of the primary ways that the district is funded. So we need to have individuals that really understand that. So that being said, now it's an opportunity for you guys to provide some input for me of what kind of attributes are we looking for, okay? These are the things that have been posted. I've had over 1,000 responses of individuals giving me feedback, right? And there are some common themes that bubbled up, but we want to hear from you. This is your opportunity to, voice your opinion. Again, if you come up here and then somebody else is speaking and a thought comes up, hey, you can come up here as many times as you want. So, once you come up here, please don't think that that's the last time that you can say anything. But we really would like your input. Now that you have a couple of board members here, to kind of hear from you, what is it that you would like to see in the next superintendent? Okay, some of you guys have experienced maybe the last two, right? They've been here for 6 years, right? Whatever your thoughts were of the individuals, okay, you had those experiences. So now, based on those experiences, we'd like to know what you'd like to see in this new person. And again, I'm an old educator, so or a teacher. So normally, when I don't get responses, I'm one that will call on somebody. Thank you.
My name's Brian Morris. I'm a resident here in Mission Valley and been involved in different projects. Try to get involved with the school system. I'm not speaking on anybody's behalf, but my own. That's my opinion. Victoria. One thing we realized in Victoria is we're kind of a stepping stone. We don't need I feel that we don't need a retiree that's looking to come in and show us how to do it for 5 years and then retire. And we need someone that can not act like a chameleon, but be a chameleon. They need to be able to understand each different community, each different school, and how it operates and how it functions. And some of the things in the past with different superintendents that we thought was going to be one way was, I'm just not going to get into that, but they thought it was going to be one way, it's ended up being something else. And we have to realize, I don't think that timeline is awful fast, because we're not in the typical position that I think a lot of school districts are in. We're in good hands right now. I think there's a lot of us that feel that we wish we could force that hand, and I understand why. But he is doing he's doing a very good job. So we're not in the panic mode of, oh, we don't have a leader. We do have a leader. We need to find somebody that needs to fit what Victoria needs. And we've struggled with bonds, and we've struggled with production, and we struggled with, I think we've got to get somebody that wants to go back to the basics and be here for a while and build this school district into what it is and build the trust and be more open to the teachers and the parents. And we all know that it's real easy to get on the internet and be a keyboard cowboy and get on there and tell everybody how it should be, but it takes a lot to get involved. It takes a lot of time and effort to get involved. But that's the biggest thing, is I don't know that we have to rush. I understand your timeline about if you hire them and then they start January 1st and they have that part of the year all summer to build up for the deal. But I just, to find the right person, because we've had the retiree, we've had the stepping stone that came from the country, but just, I just think we need to really sit down and find someone that fits what we need versus this is what we got to pick from and that's what we're picking. And I'm hoping that that's what we're looking at outside the box. And I don't think, you have to have somebody that fits Victoria's mentality.
Right. And again, that's where, my job is to recruit, across the state, based on information to make sure that there's good quality candidates. And I'm rest assured they are right now that are really, they're going to apply and they're heavily interested. But on another note, what I'm hearing is that you want somebody that it seems like has access to community that's willing to get out there, have those conversations, you know, to have some dialogue, and
I'm
then,
introvert, extrovert.
right. So to be out there, right, and making sure that that person's personable, right? And the old cliche, you know, maximum flexibility, you know, brings about optimum probability, right? So when you talked about the community and making sure that somebody can adjust, right, and be nimble to make sure that we meet the needs of the community and not afraid to make mistakes, because everybody at some point, you know, they're going to make a mistake here or there, but they're okay, right? And they're going to, you know, say, hey, I did wrong, right? But let's move on and let's change things. Let's move forward.
You know one of these people, but if you can take a little bit of Gary Moses, a little bit of Randy Meyer, and a little bit of Mr. Dunn, and put all three of those people together, kind of looking for something like that.
Somebody who walks on water, right? As close as possible.
Well, all those people have been part of this, the ISD. And a lot of these people know those people, and, you know, we kind of need that. That's what we're trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Great comments, great feedback. You know. We'd like to go next.
My name is Jennifer. I'm born and raised here in Victoria, product of the ISD. 4 out of my 5 have graduated. My baby is a senior. First of all, thank you, Dr. Nelson. Thank you, board, for hosting this meeting and just seeking public input. I do have a question, a suggestion, and a comment. My question is, first question, what is different about this superintendent search versus previous searches in the past?
I mean, I can't answer because I wasn't part of previous searches, and I don't know if any of the board members were part of previous searches. Do you want to answer that?
So there's not a huge difference because there is only a few ways to do a superintendent search. Some of them is mostly either the board does it or we go out and get a search firm like we did with JCA Law. But a lot of it is the same. So you've got the timeline and the interviews and stuff like that. So there's not a lot of room to make it different from the other ones. I can tell you that when I went, Dr. Jacklich was going to leave and then he changed his mind. So it's different. Dr. Shepard's not coming. And Dr. Jacklich was from San Antonio and he was here living on his own. And that wasn't really, I think, what the community wanted. And so then when we looked at Dr. Shepard, he brought his whole family. His daughters went to school here. They graduated from here. He lived here. He bought a home here. So we liked that aspect of it. And so we're kind of trying to find a medium in this one. And I think the biggest difference between the other searches and this search is that I am the only board member that has gone through the process. So there is a lot of learning for our board as well, but we've got great leadership here, then guidance, and we really, really want to hear what the community has. And I think that's one of the hugest things is that we're asking and coming out to the community and asking you to tell us what do you want, and then so that we can take that information and really do a good job of finding someone that will fit in Victoria and be there for our community and our teachers and our students. So I hope that answers your question. Okay.
So, like the requirement of living in the community, that's something that is different from previous searches, the requirement to live here?
It was, yes, ma'am, because we felt like that means if they live in the community, they are invested in our children and in our teachers and want what's best for this community and the future of Victoria. So absolutely.
I like that. I agree with that, that they must reside in the community because I feel like if there is an invested interest, hopefully that helps with like turnover in the future, possibly. And also the administrator experience comes with that is beneficial, partnered with, the leadership and just the overall outlook of what we hope to do with, the future of our district. So I do like that, I do agree with it. I do have a question regarding you had mentioned like master's and doctorate, doctorate preferred. Do you have any idea what the percentages of districts in Texas, or how many school districts have a superintendent with a master's versus a doctorate?
But what I am going to tell you, what I do know, so the bigger the school district, let's say you go to Dallas, El Paso, when they do searches, you're going to have less people apply. And the reason is because they confine you. You have to have a doctorate, you have to have a minimum of, say, 5 years superintendent. So I know, like Dallas, when they did their search, they only had 15 applicants. So you would think the bigger the school district, they're going to have more. They're actually going to have less because you're really restricting who can apply. So individuals, especially if they don't have experience, they're not going to take the time to. The ones that get the most candidates are normally real small districts because you're going to have assistant principals that apply and so forth. So I don't have that data, but what I can tell you, there's great people. There's some that have doctorates, and there's some that don't have doctorates. I got my doctorate because, again, it was just something personal that I wanted to accomplish. And I think when you do that for your student body, it shows that you evaluate. But I didn't have it when I was hired. My board president actually at the time was the one that said, "Hey, why don't you do this?" So I had an opportunity. I took off one week and I went to UT Austin, right? So if it weren't for him, I might not have it today. So again, it depends on the community. But I do want to say that does not, in my opinion, make or break, or it's going to make you a successful superintendent. You got to connect, of course, and you got to be a good fit for the community.
Right. And that leads me to the next point. Is have we considered maybe even like asking our own like the ISD administrators as principals if they have ever considered, pursuing the education and seeking the certifications to become a superintendent? Because I feel like there's a lot of valuable information that we can learn from them. And being that we're in the, you're in the business of education, like what we're doing with teachers, the Bridge program, like why don't we consider doing that with administrators here locally, because they know our community, they understand what we need. We need a bond, we need a lot of things in our district, and so I feel like that partnered with someone who's already invested in the community, I feel like we could go really far.
And the answer is yes. So the individuals that do have a superintendent certification are eligible to apply. So yes,
Okay.
so they're not excluded.
Okay. And that's it. I personally feel that, in the past, the reason why bonds have failed is mainly just, I feel like voters have just voted no to send a message. And so I feel like if we, get someone that truly understands the community, values, the strengths of Victoria, there's a lot, we have a lot of strengths in our community. I know there are a lot of very public opinions and mindsets, but I feel like with the right person, we can have, you can have an army behind them, and that's what we need.
Absolutely. And the great thing is I've been going around to talk to all these organizations. There's really a lot of excitement that's building around this search, and people are ready to put whatever happened in the past, good or bad, kind of to the wayside. It's about moving forward, selecting this next new leader, giving them that opportunity, and let that individual do some great things for the school district. Because again, we can dwell what happened, whether we liked it or not, 10, 15, 20 years ago, but ultimately the ones that that we're hurting are those students, right? So we need to be sure that we support our kids here in the community. And again, let's get a dynamic leader and move forward.
Well, thank you.
Somebody from this table? I'll Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Being that we have an excellent deputy superintendent, I wouldn't be afraid to get someone from a very small area. Because if we get someone that's kind of a stepping stone, you know, they get here, they get some experience, they get that 5 years experience or 10 years experience, and all of a sudden they're applying for a job somewhere else. Because, you know, we have Victoria likes Victoria. Victoria, people like to stay in Victoria. Some of our kids, they're really starting to fly now. And we've got to find somebody maybe from the surrounding counties that want to step up, because we have a great deputy superintendent. I don't know how long we'll have him, you know, but it could be a great grooming asset to, this is how it goes, and have somebody that really buys into staying. You know, that's the biggest thing, is I look but to find somebody that doesn't fit and stick in here because they meet the requirements, that doesn't work.
Well, again, what I'm hearing, and that's been a theme, right? It seems that people don't want that corporate leader, right? They want somebody who understands the community, who is involved, right? It's visible, it's out there, part of the community, you know, showing up to events, right? And again, working with staff to have a proven, you know, to look at what the issues are, right? And let's move forward. You know?
Well, somebody that'll believe in all the schools and not just the ones they're trying to get these big grants for. They need to believe in all the schools and be as advantageous as they are to push that. They need to be to push the little school out in the country, or the high school that, no, we don't want to go there. They need to be the less attractive, the more they need to be involved, instead of the more attractive, the more involved.
Every kid's important. We need to be sure they get quality education, no matter who it is.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. With you 100%. Anybody else? Again, this is your opportunity, right? Your opportunity to voice your opinion. I know you have the opportunity to do it on the survey, but you have some board members here. You'd like to, again, share your thoughts. We'd really love to hear what you have to say.
Do y'all shrink the pool, or do y'all present them all?
Everyone is presented to every applicant.
You put them in order?
No, sir.
Well, I mean, I didn't know if you like pick the creek across and say here.
Good question. And there are some search firms that do that. Maybe that's where it's different, right? They'll give them the top 8 or to who they think, right? We don't do that. You're right. All the searches that I've done, board has the opportunity to look at everyone, and they're going to decide. Like I said, I don't decide. It's their search, right? My job is to make it difficult on them, right? By bringing quality applicants that they have to look at and decipher who's going to be the best fit, right? The more quality applicants I bring, the harder it's going to be for them, right? Then I've done my job, right? As far as bringing in as many as possible. But I'm not going to tell them who to hire. I'm going to tell them who not to hire, right? My job is to vet, make sure that they know everything about that candidate, because what we don't want is to have any surprises, right? So I'm going, I go out like a hound dog, right? Finding out every place they've been, what they've done, what people have to say about that individual. That way, that candidate is vetted to make sure when they come up there, they know exactly what they're getting.
Is it legal to have an oversight selection committee outside of the board, or is it confidentiality?
It's confidentiality. It's HR, right? Everybody has it right, to have that confidential search. And again, because some individuals might feel that if it's disclosed, that could have adverse effects, affect their job where they're currently at, right? So they're done confidential, they're done, where the board, nobody knows. But again, that's in most, in a lot of job sectors, right? That's the way you do it. Again, we want to protect the employee. And what we don't want, if something gets out, you do another search, you're not going to have a whole lot of candidates if they feel that Victoria, is a district that leaks information. That's what we don't want. We need to be sure that it's done professionally, and again, that, you know, it's confidential. But I hear what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But again, that's why you gotta trust the 7 individuals, right, who voted in to do that, to do their due diligence, right? And I'm sure they will. I'll tell you, they're taking this serious, right? This is not something that, you know, it's a big responsibility that has been entrusted on this board. That's what probably the most important thing, and hopefully they won't have to do this for some time once we get that next leader. Positive, no comments, thoughts, concerns, questions, answers?
So you're saying, are you cutting down to, if they don't have 5 years, they're out? Experience required, minimum 5 years.
No. If they have administrative experience, I mean, nobody's excluded, right? We like for them to have, you know, at least 5. I know the way it's written, that one is badly written. You know, we haven't touched
Well,
it.
they're all, because it's a superintendent experience preferred minimum 3 years, so if he's got 2 years, then he's, according to that, he's.
Preferred, but it's preferred.
Preferred.
Yeah.
Okay. Required, and that, the second one.
Yeah. Again, we want to cast as big a net as possible, and there's some dynamic leaders that are not superintendents, you know, out there. They're in high-performing districts, you know. So there's some principals out there, right? That are doing an excellent job. You know, and it's the board will decide. They'll look at them and they'll decide if they're a good fit. Well, if nobody has any other comments, going once, twice, I'm going to bring Mr. Mercer up here to close the meeting. Hey, thank you guys. I really appreciate your comments. And again, you're in good hands. You got 7 individuals who care about kids. They care about this district, and I know they care about this service. Thank you.
Thank you, Saul. Again, I want to thank each and every single one of you that were here tonight. Even though it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people, the more that hear this information, the more that share this information in our community, just the better shape we're all going to be in. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, a very special thank you to Ms. Pritchard and staff for hosting us here, and to the congregation here at Zion Lutheran for housing us for tonight. I say this every time. It's wonderful to have these meetings, but anytime that we do and it involves a campus staff, it does require a little sacrifice on their part, and I want them to know that not only as a board do we appreciate it, but I know as a community member, we appreciate it as well, because it's incredibly important that we keep our doors open to everyone out there. Again, thank you. This will be our final public meeting. The other previous 4 that we have are on our website. If you want to go back and review those to see some of the questions or comments that were brought up in that point. And then again, our survey, the QR code will take you straight to the superintendent survey, or you can go to the district website, and on the bottom, I think it pops up now. There's a pop-up that comes up that you can go straight to the survey on when you bring up the website. That information, like he said over 1,000. I've been pouring through that information. I know the other board members have been pouring through that information as well. It is so vital. This is our opportunity to speak as a community, and it is incredibly important to us. As Saul mentioned a while ago, I do think this is the most important thing I'll do in my entire tenure on the board, is find the next leader for this district that works for our staff, that works for our students, that works for our community. The only other thing I'll say is that I'm about to leave in a few minutes to go to Unleash the Beast. Eastside is kicking off their UIL season tonight, and then since this is Mission Valley and you are a feeder into the West system, just a reminder that Wednesday night from 6 to 8, West will be doing the same thing. Love to see your faces out there. I know it would mean the world to our students and our staff for you to be there. If no one has anything else, again, thank you all. Thank you to our staff, our incredible communication staff that sets up everything and makes all this possible for us as well. Guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. God bless.